Hey guys, welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we are actually taking a look at Ark of Time that was actually released on the PlayStation way back in 1997. And this is actually a point and click style adventure game, third person style adventure game. These games now were quite unique. I will admit now, in these type of days, I was never as big into these type of games back then because I was always more into fast paced games and like some horror games and racing games. So for a long time I never really played these games as much because I just didn't have the patience to sit down and play these, because I just like things that were just a lot quicker and moving around a lot faster. But as time has gone on, I found that I've actually started to enjoy these games a lot more, and some of them are actually really good. There's some really good hidden gems on the PlayStation and even on other platforms as well. So the premise behind this game is that you're a news reporter and you're tasked to go out and try and find a professor that's gone missing, and ideally it has a lot to do with the stories of the lost city of Atlantis. As you would probably know from loads of different like TV shows and books and stuff that were released around the same time period, that seemed to be a big thing. So the idea behind this game was similar to that. It uses likes of 3D style environments, but more to the point like very similar like pre-rendered style backgrounds, which was kind of the thing back in those days. And in my personal opinion, I love pre-rendered style background games because I was always a big fan of the likes of Resident Evil and games like it. And I never really explored these type of games as much on the PlayStation, and I know that I actually should have back then, because when I see the types of the styles, the visual styles, even when I look back at them now, I actually love them and I think that they're actually fantastic looking games. And this here is no different than that. It actually looks really well and still holds up well today. So pretty much the premise and the story behind this game, it is fairly simplistic in terms of what it is that you do. Like there's nothing really too complex in terms of the interactivity of the game. Like there is a really good story to the game, but the puzzles in that are not really as difficult as compared to like say other games in the same genre. If you've played the likes of the Broken Sword series or other types of games like Discworld and that, you would notice that there are a lot more intricate puzzles and details that you need to get involved with in order to say complete a task or to make something actually happen. You do that in this game, but it's a bit more on the simplistic side. But it's definitely good for a beginner to actually get into. I found that even with a lot of these games, and in later years I started playing a lot of point and click games, especially on the likes of the PC, and some of them were quite tricky to actually understand how to actually play, especially with the likes of the menu systems and trying to figure out what to do. Sometimes it would take you a while to figure out what it is that was going on and how you actually control the character and how to interact with things. But to be honest, playing this here game now, it actually is very simple compared to a lot of other games in this style. It's actually very, very simplistic. It's very, very easy to pick up and play. It's not really that difficult at all. I do remember a lot quite well back when I was younger, when I was a teenager, when I used to take trips up to the local game store. I used to go to the likes of Dublin City because I live in Ireland, and a couple of times throughout the year when I'd save up a bit of money, I would actually go to Dublin with my brothers and one or two of my friends. We'd all pretty much have the same idea. We'd all save up whatever pocket money that we actually had with the intention to go and buy games. So that's usually what we used to do a few times a year, especially around like the Christmas time or summer holidays and stuff, which when we weren't at school and that. So we used to always look forward to it. And I remember always going into the game shops and actually seeing this game actually on the store shelves. And I remember quite often I would go in and I would actually look at it because I always liked the look of it. I always liked the look of the cover And I always find with these type of games, or even just most games in general, but the likes of the PlayStation, I just love the aesthetic of how everything looked with the likes of the game cases and even the artwork, because it drew you in. You'd always have a look at the reverse part of the case, and you'd always have a look at the graphics to see what it looked like. And I do remember seeing this a lot in the game stores, and there was times when I really was kind of nearly intrigued to actually buy it. But at the same time, I was kind of like, I don't really play these games that much because I didn't really know too much about them. I didn't really know how really to kind of play them. But at the same time, I was always, like I mentioned, I was always more into faster paced games or more like horror games or racing games. I was just absolutely obsessed with them. So I did, for a long time, overlook these point and click games, not thinking, because I wasn't sure if they were any good or not. But actually having gone back and played a lot of these type of games now over the last couple of years, I've actually gone back to start playing a lot of these games on the PlayStation 1 and other consoles and even on the PC. And I kid you not, there's actually some fantastic games. Some of these games are, without a doubt, some of the best games I've ever played. The one thing that really stands out to me with point and click games is that the narrative and the text and the stories that they tell are actually really, really good compared to other games, especially more action orientated games with regular voice acting and stuff. Back then, especially in the PlayStation 1, there was a lot of games like that acting wouldn't have never been as great. These games were similar in that, but what they lacked maybe in voiceover, they definitely made up for in their narrative and their story. And there was definitely some fantastic stories in a lot of these games. And the thing is, even though these games may have been a lot slower paced, you genuinely could get into the feel of the game, the being able to explore and to search different areas, and to really just get behind and get involved with the characters as you played through the game. So there's definitely some hidden gems here. Now I know this game did get mixed reviews, and I do know that it was stating that it was not as good compared to some other games that were similar to it. But again, it's a unique game in its own right. It definitely is a little bit more on the simplistic side when you compare it to other point and click games of that period. Like if you compare it to the likes of the Broken Sword franchise, which if you haven't played that, you should, because they're some of the best point and click games ever made. Graphically, they're fantastic, fantastic voice acting, story, everything. They really are incredible. But this is a good foothold and a good entry point into playing these type of games. And I'm actually really glad now that I actually did get round to actually playing this as well, because I actually did enjoy this. It takes a bit of getting used to and a bit to get into, but it is fairly simple compared to other games similar to it that I have played. But I'm really starting to enjoy these type of games now as the years have gone on, because I've allowed myself to start exploring different types of games, and these type of games are really enjoyable if you really have the patience to sit down and play them. And there is some hidden gems, especially even on the likes of these older consoles and the PlayStation and so forth. And if you like the old school kind of vibe and style with the graphics, and like in my case I love pre-rendered style games, so this here definitely fits the bill for me for a lot of these type of things that I like. So it definitely does have a lot of really good elements. So this is actually a decent game, and it definitely is worth trying out. So I highly recommend, if you haven't tried Ark of Time, I highly do recommend that you try it out. Especially for the likes of the story, because the story does get you more drawn in the more that you play it, and it is a good experience. So what are your thoughts of Ark of Time? What did you think of it back in the day? Did you experience it? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? Be sure to share your memories down in the comments below, as I'd love to hear them. So if you have enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like. Also hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be updated whenever I release future videos, as I am going to be exploring more videos like with games like this here and other games on the PlayStation that I never have yet to experience, and share all my memories with everyone. So until next time, make sure to keep playing those classic games and enjoying them, and make sure to keep those gaming memories alive.